Seth, you were at Springfield College this past weekend for a great game. Like you said, this was one of the biggest matchups of the season so far for the St. John Fisher College Cardinals football team. The Fisher defense was pretty stifling. Like you said, it was tenacious D to a point. They stopped Chris Sharp, who had a great, outstanding game against them last year. What do you think the difference was this year coming into the game?
Well, without a doubt, Drew, it had to be, I think, mainly on the coaching standpoint. A lot of people forget that in that first game, the one that ended up ruining the Cardinals' perfect regular season, they had 4 defensive starters not playing in the game. One of which is Greg Pazinski, one of their really solid defensive front linemen, and I believe Steve Stepnick was also out for that game. They ended up having all those players back for the playoff game, but you also have to think about it. I think many of these teams that Fisher and most of the one the Empire 8, and they never really face that many teams that have the triple option offense like Springfield does. I'm pretty sure the coaching staff of head coach Paul Vosberg and defensive coordinator Blaise Fagiano pretty much just looked at that tape probably about 3 or 4 times and just realized what they had to do. And they found out that they can really just try to limit the amount of play that Chris Sharp had by pretty much not utilizing the secondary at all. I mean, essentially, the wide receivers for Springfield's offense are all decoys. So he's able to take the cornerbacks and have them just maybe play off or maybe play almost like as if you have 3 safeties. He'd utilize Steve Stepnick as a free safety and have him spy and try to guess which way that Sharp was going to go. If he was either going to take it himself, maybe give the handoff to his halfback, or maybe even pitch it to a fullback. They were actually able to really just shut down any type of rushing offense. And here's one note for that game. At halftime, Chris Sharp only needed 41 yards to break Springfield's all-time offensive yardage record. And without a doubt, Chris Sharp was left empty-handed by the end of the game. I mean, that really, I think, is just one of the things that is really going for the Cardinals right now for the defense coming into this week's game against Utica.
Seth, you mentioned coming up this week against Utica. Utica is 0-3 in the Empire 8 with an overall record of 2-5. Utica has not looked great at all this season. So some might say this might be a repeat game of the Norwich University game, and Fisher just racked up the points. So what do you think on that?
I'm going to have to agree with you pretty much 100% on that. I mean, with coming in Saturday, Fisher is going to be, without a doubt, favored to win this game, at least by a couple of scores. I mean, you just look at the stats on paper. Utica only averages about 14 points a game. They usually give up about 30. The offense has only scored about 12 touchdowns, and you're not really seeing much in terms of threats to that defense. I mean, the past 3 weeks, ever since that Hartwick loss, the Cardinals were kind of having the benefit of playing a team that they should have been able to beat if it was completely healthy. I mean, the Brockport game was a blowout only because their quarterback, Zach Luke, was not playing. And they were able to just kind of build a little bit of momentum with that and the huge Norwich blowout. I mean, a game that, without a doubt, the Cardinals just knew they were going to win. But the coaching staff is trying to tell them to take a one-day game at a time. And I know the coaching staff is going to be telling these players that Utica could still ruin their season, but I think realistically, don't expect the Pioneers to come in and just blow the doors off the Cardinals anytime soon.
Exactly. You don't want to go into the game thinking you already have the game won. That's a great note that you did mention that. Coming up in 2 weeks, it's Fisher versus Alfred. It's probably going to be the biggest game of the season, so folks, just look out for that game. But coming up this week is Fisher against Utica.